Welcome back to Beyond the Gate. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because today's episode, Fairmont Crest, is about to be turned upside down. A shocking discovery suggests that Anita may never have been sick at all, and Monica is the one who uncovers the truth. But is it too late? And how will this revelation impact Vernon and Nicole? In Fairmont Crest, nothing is ever as simple as it seems. Truth and deception often exist side by side, and sometimes the most heartbreaking stories are built on foundations that were never real to begin with. This time, the focus shifts to Anita, a woman whose illness has shaped the emotional landscape of everyone around her. For weeks, Anita's condition has been at the center of concern. Her declining health, her emotional goodbyes, and the quiet way she began putting her affairs in order all painted a clear picture. She was running out of time, and everyone around her believed it. Vernon stood by her, trying to be strong, even as he prepared himself for the inevitable. Nicole watched with a mix of concern and helplessness, unsure of how to support someone facing such a devastating reality. And Monica, though not always at the forefront, remained observant, quietly taking in everything that was happening. But what if all of it was based on something that wasn't true? That is the question that begins to take shape when Monica stumbles upon something that doesn't add up. It starts small, a detail that feels off, something in Anita's medical situation that doesn't quite make sense. At first, Monica dismisses it. After all, in a situation as complex as a serious illness, inconsistencies can happen. Medical details can be confusing, and not everything is always clear. But the feeling doesn't go away. If anything, it grows stronger. So Monica does something that no one else has done. She looks deeper. What she finds begins to unravel everything. The records don't match the story that has been told. The symptoms don't fully align with the diagnosis. And the timeline of events begins to raise more questions than answers. Slowly, carefully, Monica starts to piece it together. And what she realizes is almost impossible to believe. Anita may never have been sick. The weight of that realization is enormous. Because if it's true, then everything that has happened up to this point changes meaning. The emotional moments, the decisions, the sacrifices, all of it. Monica is faced with a difficult choice. Does she speak up immediately, risking being wrong and causing unnecessary chaos? Or does she continue investigating, making sure that what she has discovered is real before bringing it to anyone else? Given the gravity of the situation, she chooses the latter. She digs deeper. She cross-checks information. She looks for confirmation. And the more she looks, the clearer it becomes. This is not a misunderstanding. This is not a mistake. Something has been deliberately hidden. And at the center of it all is Anita. The question now is not just whether Anita was ever sick. It is why she would make everyone believe that she was. What could possibly drive someone to create such a reality? As Monica processes this, another realization hits her. Time. If Anita has been pretending, then everything she has done recently takes on a new meaning. The letter she left for Vernon, the urgency in her actions, the decision to leave and meet Dante alone. None of it was about preparing for death. It was about something else. Something bigger. Monica knows she cannot keep this to herself any longer. She goes to Vernon. The moment she tells him, everything changes. At first, Vernon doesn't believe it. How could he? He has seen Anita's condition with his own eyes. He has felt the emotional weight of her situation. He has prepared himself for losing her. To suggest that all of it might not be real is almost too much to process. But Monica presents what she has found. The inconsistencies. The evidence. The truth as she understands it. And slowly, painfully, doubt begins to creep in. For Vernon, this is not just shocking. It is devastating. Because if Anita has been lying, then everything he thought he knew about their situation is called into question. Every moment they shared, every decision he made, every emotion he felt, all of it becomes uncertain. And with that uncertainty comes anger. Why would Anita do this? Why would she make him believe something so serious, something so final, if it wasn't true? Nicole, when she learns about this, has a different reaction. Her shock is immediate, but it quickly turns into confusion. She tries to make sense of it, to find a reason that could justify such a deception. She considers the possibility that Anita may have had her reasons, that there may be something they don't understand. But even with that perspective, the situation is hard to accept. Because this is not a small lie. This is something that has affected everyone. As the truth begins to spread, the emotional fallout becomes impossible to contain. Vernon feels betrayed. Nicole feels conflicted. And Monica, despite being the one who uncovered the truth, feels the weight of what it has done to everyone involved. At the same time, Anita is still out there. And now, her actions take on a completely different meaning. If she was never sick, then her decision to leave was not about facing the end. It was about pursuing something. Something she was willing to risk everything for. And that brings the focus back to Dante. Because whatever Anita is involved in, Dante is a part of it. The question is how. What connection do they share that is strong enough to justify all of this? And what are they trying to accomplish? As Vernon processes everything, one thing becomes clear. He needs answers. Not assumptions. Not speculation. The truth. And the only way to get that truth is to find Anita. But this time, it is not just about concern for her well-being. It is about confrontation. He needs to look her in the eye and hear the explanation directly from her. No more letters. No more secrets. No more confusion. Just the truth. Nicole, though shaken, understands this. She knows that whatever is happening, it is not over. In fact, it is only just beginning. Because a revelation like this does not resolve anything. It creates more questions, more tension, more conflict. And in Fairmont Crest, those conflicts have a way of escalating quickly. As Vernon prepares to confront Anita, the emotional stakes continue to rise. He is not just going to find her. He is going to demand answers. And depending on what those answers are, everything could change. Because if Anita has been manipulating the situation, then the consequences will be severe. Trust will be shattered, relationships will be broken, and the damage may be impossible to repair. But there is also another possibility, that Anita had a reason so important, so urgent, that she felt this was the only way to achieve it. If that is the case, then the truth may be even more complicated than anyone expects. And that is what makes the situation so intense. Because right now nothing is certain. All that exists are questions. And those questions are leading everyone toward a confrontation that will change everything. As the pieces begin to come together, one thing is undeniable. The story that everyone believed is no longer the story they are living. And the truth, whatever it may be, is about to come to light. What do you think? Was Anita really never sick? And what could be the real reason behind her actions? How Ron Carlivati went from lawyer to powerhouse behind GH, Days, TL and BTG. Ron Carlivati talks about his prolific soap opera career on the Soapy podcast with Greg Rickhart and Rebecca Budig. Ron Carlivati joined Rebecca Budig and Greg Rickhart on the Soapy podcast to discuss his prolific soap opera career. He went from working as a lawyer to writing for One Life to Live. From there, he's written for General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, and Beyond the Gates. Key takeaways. Carlivati explained how he went from getting his start in law to being named one of the showrunners of a soap opera. He talked about what it's like to write some of the most iconic storylines. Carlivati also talked about his work with novelist David Baldacci. How Ron Carlivati got his start in his soaps on the Soapy podcast. Carlivati looked back at his iconic soap career. Prior to becoming a head writer for some of the biggest soaps, he worked as a lawyer. Carlivati was working in New York at the time. His biggest dream was to write for soaps. He was advised to tell anyone that you want to work on a soap opera. Then, he found out through a friend that someone was planning to leave their job. Carlivati returned to his old temp job at a legal office and thought nothing of it. The following day, he got a call from someone who asked him to fax his resume. He ended up impressing Robin Goodman, who was the former producer of TL. They had someone else in mind, but they liked that Carlivati knew of the show's history and storylines. BTG writer on his work with novelist David Baldacci also. In the interview, Carlivati talked about his work with novelist David Baldacci. It happened around the time he was focused on his legal career. Baldacci is a legal thriller writer who wasn't famous at the time. Baldacci confessed that he didn't want to be a lawyer. He wanted to be a writer. He needed someone to unload to, and Carlivati ended up following him and his adventures. One day, Baldacci told Carlivati about some of the meetings he had. At the time, they told him that he could become the next John Grisham. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more Beyond the Gate spoilers. Stay tuned, because the truth is about to shake everything.